Why do I need an armored car to go sell, a Special Wishes Porsche in Mexico City? So Mexico City was one of the first kind of really interesting faraway car auctions that I got to take part in with RM Sotheby's. And it was through a Special Wishes program with Porsche. And it was this really cool 718 that Patrick Dempsey had raced across the Pan Americana. Porsche approached us, because it's a one of two car, because Patrick Dempsey had raced it, the value that they put on a car like this is pretty high, 2-3x what MSRP would be on a car like this. It was a cool opportunity for us to engage in Mexico City. Obviously Porsche as a brand is in the DNA of the enthusiast car world and in our DNA too. So of course we wanted to do it. And so we went back and forth a little bit, where is it? What's going on? Mexico City turned out to be a ranch 2.5 hours outside of Mexico City. And still sounds like a great idea. A small team of us were gonna go down. But ultimately they're like, great, don't worry about it. We're gonna send a driver. He's gonna be yours for the weekend. He's gonna take you to your hotel. He's gonna take you to the sale. We're gonna do all these interesting things. And so I show up in Mexico City with 2 other guys from RM out of the LA office. Get off the airplane, get through the airport, and sure enough, the driver's sitting right there. And he's got, a Cayenne, and I'm like, great, Porsche's doing this right. And I go and open the door of the Cayenne, and it's 2 feet thick or whatever, 18 inches, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This is a really big Cayenne. And you get in, and when you close the door, you have to hammer on it, and you realize real quick that you're sitting in an armored car, right? And I'm like, well, it was safe, right? Where are we going? And oh, it's perfectly safe. You don't have to worry about anything. I guess it gives you a sense of security getting into an armored car, but then it also makes you wonder, why do I need an armored car to go sell, a Special Wishes Porsche in Mexico City? We get to the hotel, they let us get comfortable and stuff like that. And then you get into this car the next morning. The driver drives us literally 2 hours outside the city, and you pull into this ranch. And, you've got the guys with the little mirrors on the end of the stick, right? So they can kind of go under the car and see what's going on in the armored car. So you start thinking well, what would they be looking for? What could possibly go wrong out here? And so you drive down this long, kind of big, huge, dirt driveway out to this ranch. And as you're pulling in, there's these fences, and you realize real quick that in the fences are, tigers and hippos and all these wild exotic animals. And it's, it's like nothing you've ever seen. It's like nothing I've experienced, at least in North America, in the States, when you go to a car event like Pebble or Scottsdale or something like that. It's very what to be expected. So then you get down there and it's not that. And, you pull in next to these horse stables with these beautiful, well-brushed, cared for horses that are trotting down. They take us out there, and the event itself was incredible. Just the stable of cars, half the attendees to the event helicoptered in. So you've just got this traffic control of helicopters coming in and out of the event the entire time we're there. But we sell the car, and the car does really, really well. It was an unbelievable thing. The livery was amazing. The heritage was so cool. The tie to the Pan Americana was cool. And so we finished the event, we finished the actual auction, and everybody's celebrating and doing all this stuff. And the owner of the ranch, who's an incredible collector of cars, was like, hey, we do this big party at the end. Some of the people kind of take off, but then the core group stays. There's probably 100, 150 people still there. And all of a sudden you start hearing music, coming from down towards the stables. And then you hear some cars coming, and he comes down in a white Countach with the doors up, and this singer, this woman, is sitting on the roof of the car in just full cowboy garb. She's got spurs on her boots, and she comes out singing as he's blasting the Countach through, this audience and this crowd. And it was there's nothing that I've ever seen that you use a car like that for. But then the best part was, it was a white car, and she finishes, and the car drives away. And you keep hearing, you think it's the same car, and then a black Countach comes kind of coming around the corner. She's sitting on the roof of that car too, singing a new song, slides off the roof, gets on this dancing horse. So she's got this horse that's dancing and singing, and you've got these cars that are sliding behind her. And it's just, I think it speaks to the whole enthusiast kind of car world, which is, it's not normal. It's not cut from any specific playbook. It's you love what you love. You know what I mean? These guys love what they love. You're eccentric and fun. And it was an absolute blast, and nothing that I've ever experienced. To sell a car like that, you need a global reach, right? Because if Porsche did it, they would sell it to someone probably within the Porsche network within Mexico. If another auction house did it, like a local Mexico-based auction house, again, you're going to pull from like a very finite market. But what they wanted to do was find like a global audience for this car. Not just to buy the car, but to like pay attention to Porsche still has racing in their DNA, right? Porsche is still an incredible machine that you can go rip the Panamericana in, but also, you know, your dentist can drive it to work, right? So we were the right partner for that because of the global reach. Like RM Sotheby's was founded 40 plus years ago by Rob Myers in a little farm town in Canada. Sotheby's became a minority partner in the business a handful of years ago, and then they became a majority partner in the business a few years after that. And what it immediately did is it gave RM the largest global footprint of any business with any auction house around the globe. We have offices in Canada, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, London, the UAE. We have a presence in, you know, Asia Pac, and then down in Mexico. And what comes with that too, though, is this massive global audience, right? People that pay attention to us, that immediately trust us because we are RM, but we're also Sotheby's. So you've got this trust transfer that you know that if I buy something from you, if you tell me I should pay attention to you, I should pay attention, right? Because I trust the brands. So that's what Porsche wanted to do with this project. They approached us, we took it on. We've done some other similar projects with them in Europe and Canada and North America. We started marketing the car like all over the world, right? And we ended up with registered bidders in Geneva, throughout Europe, the UK, Canada, US, Mexico. And for anybody who buys cars outside of America, especially, you know, the last couple of years, it's a bit tricky to get them in, especially if they're a new car. It's next to impossible unless you're going to do show and display or something else. So it was really hard to find a buyer outside of Mexico. But what it did do is it found a bunch of buyers within Mexico that Porsche wasn't privy to. So these buyers knew about RM Sotheby's. They paid attention to what we did. They paid attention to what Sotheby's did in the market. And then we told them that, hey, this is something that you guys should pay attention to and it's super cool. And so they started paying attention to it. So we ended up with this massive global reach. We simulcast the thing. So we sold it live. Like I was sitting up there on a microphone, auctioning this car in front of a bunch of people. I don't speak Spanish. And, you know, we're in the middle of Mexico and I'm auctioning it in English. They're all understanding. We're also live casting it on Sealed. And the Sealed platform that we built for RM Sotheby's was something that you don't know what the actual price is, right? So like you don't know what the price is, you don't know if it's sold, you don't know if it didn't sell. You just know the position that you're in, you know, between one and however many other bidders there are participating. So it's just designed to incentivize like this complete privacy and protection, both for the buyer and the seller. So like you can get something that you want really bad, but then you're protecting that car. So you don't know if it's sold. So if the buyer for some reason, you know, didn't get the number they wanted, they can pickle it, bring it back to market at some point. But if you do buy it, you don't have this artificial, you know, ceiling on future value because like everybody knows what you paid for it. And then in a country like Mexico, where you don't want anyone to know anything that you paid for anything, it's better to be quiet about all of those transactions. It worked out really well. So even though we're auctioning it live, everybody was bidding on their phones and on computers, like in the audience. And then around the world, we had people in Canada and America and Europe and the UK bidding on the car online as well. And then we had this massive, you know, LED screen behind us that was like showing the position of the bids and stuff. So they chose us because we could create that reach, right? And nobody else globally can create the reach that we have. And it's actually interesting too, because that event kind of spawned a bunch of other stuff that we did with Porsche. One of which that was really interesting was that after the LA wildfires, this is, you know, flash forward, what, 2 years, year and a half from the Panamericana race, Porsche reached out and was like, hey, listen, we really want to do something for LA. And LA is the epicenter of that. Like the roads going into Malibu and you know, up and throughout Northern California and the canyons all over the state are like next to none. And they said, hey, we want to give you guys an ST. Right? And this was at the time where like you couldn't get an ST. It was the last one they had. And they're like, we're just going to give it to you. From $1, we want all of the funds to flow through the American Red Cross and to go to wildfire victims throughout Los Angeles. And we're like, cool, let's do this. So we did the same thing. We were like, we'll do Sealed. We'll run the playbook back that we did at this event in Mexico City. Then we were trying to figure out like, how do we get legs on this thing? How do we get everyone to know? Because of course people will pay it attention because it's the right cause and it's a really cool freaking car. I reached out to Orlando Bloom and like he was just about to become the face of Porsche design. It was like days away from the announcement. And I was like, hey, and like, you live in the area, at the time he was just north of LA. And I'm like, what if we had this car dropped off in your driveway and you talk about it, we talk about it together. And he's like, no, don't even worry about it. He's like, I'm gonna come to you. And so he comes down to the office and he and I just walk around this car for, 15 minutes, just like talking about why it's cool. And then the connection that we both have to Los Angeles and to Porsche and all this cool stuff. And it ended up selling for like $1 million or $1.1 million, right? When the auction kind of fully came to fruition. And it went to the right person. This guy's like a Porsche enthusiast. He followed RM Sotheby's, so that's how he found the car. We raised over $1 million for the wildfire victims in Los Angeles. But like the story arc is exactly the same. Like people come to us because we have this reach. You can pull a celebrity in who happens to also be like a passionate car enthusiast, but then we can, reach people like all over the globe with these like really special stories that are curated in a way that I don't think anybody else can curate.
We love Lemon Squad because they can have a certified inspector out to look at a car that you're considering buying within 1 to 3 days. It's the most powerful way to be the shrewdest negotiator possible in a used car transaction. But sometimes even that isn't quick enough, and sometimes you're pressured by a dealership staff or a salesperson into making a decision on the spot. So they have launched the perfect solution for this, Lemon Squad Live. It allows you in less than 2 minutes to set up a video call with one of their certified inspectors at the car you're looking at, so they can help you walk through what to look for and what to walk away from. It's the best way to avoid these high pressure, difficult situations where a used car can be a lot to take in and you want to make the best buying decision possible. Using one of their certified inspectors can help you figure out if the paint doesn't match and what to look at for consumable items like brakes, tires, and things like that. How to check the fluids, how to check the functionality of the infotainment. Anything that you need to look around a car to be the most qualified and researched buyer possible. Lemon Squad Live is here to help, so check them out now at the link in the description below or by using the QR code on your screen.